In this lesson, we'll learn how to use the Lumos layout system to create complex grid layouts in Webflow by building out this design. So let's get started. So to use the Lumos layout system, we can give our list a utility of GD1, which sets it to a display of grid. Then we can define the column count on this grid. I'll set a column desktop of 5, so our grid is 5 columns on desktop breakpoint, and below that it reverts to being a single column, since these utilities are mobile first. We can apply a column landscape 3, so our grid will be 3 columns on landscape breakpoint or above, unless overridden on a higher breakpoint. But below landscape, it reverts to being a single column. We can also set individual items to span across multiple columns or rows for each breakpoint. I'll set a column tablet of 2 on this item, so this first item spans across 2 columns from tablet breakpoint on up, and we'll also define a row tablet of 3, so it spans across 3 of the rows here on tablet breakpoint. That carries up to desktop, but it clears out below tablet. So to put this into practice, we'll be building out this design. The site was designed on a 12-column grid, and these 2 sections here are actually using the same kind of layout between the 2 of them, so whatever layout class we create can be reused for both. So in Webflow, let's add a div and give it the class of content list. We'll apply our GD1 utility, and we want this to be a 12-column grid from tablet on up, so we'll apply a column tablet of 12. Inside that grid, let's drop in a div and give this a class of content left. We'll apply a column tablet of 2, so it spans across 2 of the 12 columns, and we'll drop in a text block and replace the text here. Now inside our grid, we're going to drop in another div, and this is going to be to hold our heading. So we'll notice that this should span 8 columns, and it should actually start on the 4th column, so there's a gap here between them. So what we'll do is give this div a class of content right, and we'll apply a column tablet of 8, so it spans across 8 columns, and we'll add the start tablet of 4, so it starts on the 4th column. Inside that, we can drop in our heading and replace our text. So we'll notice we have a column of space on each side of our heading here, and this layout applies to tablet breakpoint, and below that it just becomes a full width sort of layout here. Now we can also duplicate our section and start creating our next layout. So if we take a look at this, we have actually an 8-column grid here, and this second image is spanning 2 of those 8 columns, and it's kind of aligned to the bottom like so. So in Webflow, let's delete our heading, and we'll select our content right and add in a div. We'll call this image list and apply our GD1 and set a column portrait 8, so it's an 8-column grid across every breakpoint. Inside that grid, we'll drop in a div and give it the class of image left. We'll apply a column portrait 6, so it spans 6 of the 8 columns, and inside that left, let's select an image. So we can select our image grid and drop another div, give this the class of image right, and set a column portrait of 2, so it's spanning 2 of the 8 columns. Inside that, we'll add an image and select one here. Now we can select our entire image grid and align to bottom like so, and even when this main grid becomes a full column below tablet, the image grid is still going to stay 8 columns all the way down. Now because we reuse this grid class throughout our site, if we decide to change maybe the start position or the column count or anything like that, it's going to update site-wide. For this last layout, we have a simple 50-50 split. So in Webflow, let's duplicate our section and let's delete this list. And inside our container, we'll drop in a div, give this the class of CTA list, and apply a GD1. And we'll set a column tablet 2, so it's a simple 2-column grid. Inside our grid, let's drop in a div called CTA content, and inside that we'll drop in maybe an H2 heading and replace the text, and let's also drop in one of our button components. So once we have that set, let's grab our whole grid and drop another div. We'll call this CTA image, and inside that we'll add an image element and choose an image from here. We can grab our whole grid and align to center like so. And then let's duplicate our section, and we want this instance of the image to come at the beginning of the list, only for tablet and desktop breakpoints though. So let's give it a combo of is first, and we'll apply a utility of order tablet 1, so it jumps to the first position in the list for tablet breakpoint 1 up. So now we'll notice it's right here at the beginning on tablet and desktop, and below that for both of them the text comes first and the image comes second. And one other thing we may want to do is just edit the gap on our grid. So if we select our CTA list, we can apply a gap here and just override the default gap like so. The Lumos layout system can be included independently in any Webflow project. It supports up to a 24-column grid and is less than 16 kilobytes. Just include this link in your Webflow embed, and optionally you can set the default gap on all grids like so. So that wraps up how to use the system.